Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Didn't Really Name It. In today's episode, I'm joined by TomHirst, who is a freelance WordPress developer. He has been freelancing for the past 11 years and now has a successful source of income worth six figures. He is also focused in teaching people how to get paid what they're worth, work smarter, and find balance. And in today's video podcast, I'll be asking him questions on how he started his career and got clients like Facebook and BMW, amongst others, and how Indian people can make the best in the freelance world too. He is a key example for my mission for the digital age and its impact. Before beginning this video, I would like to apologize for the terrible video quality. Sadly, my main camera just corrupted the file. So, with that out of the way, let's begin. Welcome aboard, Tom Hirst. Welcome to this podcast, and I just want to say thank you for coming onto the episode.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Afan. It's good to be here.
So, Tom, can you introduce yourself to the listeners and the viewers of this podcast?
Yeah, sure thing. My name's Tom. I'm a long-time freelance web developer, and I've recently started getting into writing books for other freelancers and offering advice on Twitter and things like that. So, yeah, that's roughly what I'm doing right now.
Mm-hmm. So, what's your technical background as a freelance website developer?
Yeah, so technically what I specialize in is WordPress, and I've been doing it for the last 11 years. And more recently getting into the JavaScript side of things, doing headless WordPress. So, WordPress on the back end with JavaScript front ends, Next.js, Gatsby, things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm working with technically at the moment.
Mm-hmm. So what do you use for databases right now?
Say that again?
What are you using for databases right now?
Databases, well, SQL for the WordPress, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes use MongoDB for, when I write any Node applications or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. So let's begin for the starting here. I've been following you for a long time, so there's some questions I had personally. So let's begin with that. What was your first job as a freelancer?
Okay, so there's a bit of a story with this one, because when I left university, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I'd done a bit of coding, as a hobby, but I applied for a few jobs anyway, and the one that I applied for, I didn't get. I came a really close second. The other guy was better than me at the time, so I just thought, you know what, I'm going to try freelancing, and let's just see where it goes. So I just told everyone that I knew, basically, look, I've got these skills, I'm doing this WordPress thing, tell everyone that you know, and if anyone needs any work, I'm your guy. And the first client that I got came from a contact of my dad's, because he's an accountant, so he had a few business contacts of his own. So he was just talking to a guy, and he said, yeah, I need someone, with WordPress skills. And he said, my son does WordPress. And then they linked us up, and the rest was history. Yeah.
That's the thing. I was really interested. Was your first contract like a professional company, or you just started from the people from the mutual contacts?
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of people discount the amount of people that they already know. So whether that's personally or even online, even if your Twitter audience or LinkedIn audience is fairly small, you probably will know someone that, can use your skills.
So you mean we already have an established network, a small established network, so we should begin from there?
Exactly, yeah. You'd be surprised, about who will hire you in the people that you already know, whether that's online or offline.
Mm-hmm. So majorly for most of the part, you're a WordPress developer and you develop websites using WordPress. So Now here's the question. Now I'm a video editor. I'm a freelance video editor. I started because of you. We're gonna get there. So I'm a freelance video editor, and you're a freelance website developer and WordPress developer. So how do you think you differentiate yourself from the market of WordPress developers as a beginner? How did you do that?
Yeah, so I mean, this is tougher now in the WordPress space, because it's obviously there's a lot more people doing it than what there was at the beginning. Because obviously for me now, because I've been doing it for such a long time, people know they associate my name with doing, good WordPress stuff. But yeah, it's a really good question about the differentiators. So, I mean, any freelancer who has got good communication skills, number one, is something that I would say is a big differentiator, because the sad thing is a lot of freelancers don't have good communication skills, whether that be written or being able to talk on the phone and, get to the bottom of what clients' problems actually are, rather than just selling their service, without looking into the detail. So yeah, communication for me is a really big one.
That's really good. I think as a freelancer, do you agree with this? Like 50% to be 100% as a professional, be a skilled, well-paid freelancer, you need to be 50% efficient in communication, and the 50% is skill-based. Do you believe on that?
Yeah, definitely. That's something that I think is like the marketing side of it as well, and being able to communicate, be able to convey, what your skills are and how you can actually help people, what outcomes you can help them to achieve, is just as important as having the skill set itself. So yeah, I would agree with that one.
That's perfectly put. So we're gonna go back now. I followed you around 3 months ago when we started the quarantine. 3-4 months ago, I really don't know when we started the quarantine anyways. So we started the quarantine. I followed you through a simple hashtag, that was #freelancing. I just typed on Twitter, and I remember, like, I used to see your tweets every day. I still see them every day because I waste a lot of time on Twitter. I love this. So something I've noticed is you still post around 2 to 3 tweets every day, and before something happened, we're going to talk about that something. Before that, you still used to go ahead and upload two tweets, and that two literally we can say something that is really valuable tweets every day, and used to get somewhere around 1 to 2 likes on Twitter. So I've seen this problem with many people, and I also suffered this thing. Was how did you push yourself to post tweets every day when you know that you aren't getting a lot of likes, you aren't getting a major audience? Then how did you push yourself every day? Just, I'm gonna tweet it, even if it's getting 2 to 3 likes. So how did you do that?
Yeah, I think consistency is important in anything that you do in life. If you want to be known for something, then you've got to stick at it and, stay in the game. So I always had an eye on releasing products targeted towards freelancers. So yeah, about 10 months ago, I started tweeting, and obviously, like you said, that some of the tweets maybe got 1 or 2 likes, some got 10, some got 20, but nothing like the figures that I get now. So yeah, to answer your question, I just thought, you know what, I know that this is the direction I'm going in. So I know what I have to do. I have to tweet consistently to get known, as someone who's got, to be an authority, I guess, in the freelancing space. So I just thought, this is where I want to be. This is the goals are that I want to start selling my own products. So that was the motivation that I needed to be consistent.
So one of your thread, it literally, more than 37,000 tweets, likes, and then around 11,000 retweets. And what I saw was, I really love the way you did this. So first you gave value to people for free, and then you released the ebook, which I haven't bought, by the way, because I'm trying to collect money for it. So pricing freelance projects, that's the book. You gave value, and then you put on the book, and I heard it's so really good, and I was really happy to see that. Congratulations. So
thank you.
So what was your reaction when it all blew up? So how did the thought process came in that I'm going to make a book within a month, I'm going to grind and make a book within a month, and I saw other things? Because I know that you had to prioritize so much. So how did it all
I mean, to me, like, I probably didn't realize how valuable that tweet would be to people before I tweeted it. It just kind of felt like any other tweet that I was doing. But yeah, I think I probably had like 2,500 followers at that stage. And then that tweet brought like 4,500 on its own. So yeah, I just thought that strike while the iron is hot, essentially. So everyone, all the attention's on this tweet right now. So hang on, let's just take a step back and think, how can I, further perpetuate the building of this audience. And that was to write the book there and then, try and prioritize it over everything else and just think, look, do it fast, get it out there, show people how I'm doing it. So I tweeted a lot of things about the process as well, and the pre-order sales and things like that. And people were really interested in that. So it's all about momentum. It just kept the momentum going. So yeah, that's the process behind it.
That's really good. See, I had this very important question, and when I started this, and I think still here, I'm from India, by the way, so just saying that.
Yeah.
So, freelancing is not a secure job. What's your take on that?
It's so different, obviously, from country to country. And it also depends on how many years of experience you've got. There's a lot of variables with freelancing. It's hard to make an assessment on everyone, it's hard to just give a blanket statement on every single freelancer out there. But I mean, security as a freelancer is one of the things that you'll always have to try and battle against, because, you're not getting a steady wage. So you need to be a little bit more savvy with, how you spend your money and things like that. So yeah, whether I agree with that statement or not, I'm not too sure. But one thing that really helped me in my early days was to save more money than what I spent. So because obviously, with freelancing, sometimes you're not sure where the next job's coming from. Especially when I started, I had this first client and I just stuck with them for they were my only client for a year. So losing them would have been really scary at that time. So what I did is I saved money in anticipation of that. But then what I also started to do was start to build demand in the background, so that if I did lose them, then the risk was reduced because I had other people who were interested in my services. And I think those two things are super important to try and make freelancing a stable job. But create that demand and ongoing demand. Always keep marketing your services so that there's more than one person interested in hiring you. And obviously then save more than what you spend as well.
So I'm kind of blanked out on this one. Sorry for that.
No worries.
So the next question is actually, how do you think Indian freelancers can get the rate just like anyone else? I've seen freelancers from India getting underpaid compared to other people from other countries. So how do you think we can do that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think it's a really tough one because I've not obviously experienced that myself. But I think a lot of companies try to pay people based on the cost of living of where they're from, as opposed to where the company's based. So, which I think is incredibly unfair. So say if you've got a US company who's, making a lot of money, then they would pay an Indian developer less because of the cost of living difference, than what they would pay someone in the US, which is, it's unfair. And I think the only advice I can really give is that when I hire other freelancers, to me, it doesn't matter where the person comes from. The locations it's irrelevant. I just look at the skills. So I think it's about, if you can build that level of credibility and show, proof of quality work, come across as someone who communicates well, like what we talked about before, then I think it's all about that, that level of credibility. And it's, that's I think that applies across the board, no matter where you come from.
Thank you. Because I'm trying to build that same thing for me, and I really face this problem, as I said, on platforms like Upwork and other platforms. They have full access to from where I am and everything. They can see everything. So I was really interested in this one. So another question that I was approached by, and it was by some of my friends. So I'm okay with making a website for my own self. I have a portfolio, just listen to your things. And I was like, you need to have a portfolio 100% yes. So I was like, if he says 100% yes, then we're going to do it. And I made the website. And believe it or not, making a website for yourself and uploading your client work on that, and as you said, establishing credibility gave me a really good advantage. But what if someone is not, just imagine that you're not coming from a technical field as a programming field. I'm just
Mhm.
going to give my example. If you're coming from video editing, if you're coming from, data entry or something along that lines, other than programming,
Mhm.
and you don't know how to make a website, and you don't have the money to hire someone to make a website for you. So
Yeah.
what do you think is an alternative portfolio to making your own website for beginners?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, there's a lot of tools that you can use where you can do things like for free. Have you heard of Card?
Sorry?
It's called Card.
I haven't.
Carrrd, I think it is, and it's like you can build a single page. You can build like a single page portfolio without knowing any coding skills, and it's free, I think, for the starter plan. So there's a lot of free tools that you could use to get a website up quick, because at the end of the day, when someone's going to search your name, if they're going to hire you as a freelancer, and if you come up and you've got a website and there's a picture of you and a little bit about you and some of your skills and a testimonial, it makes so much difference than just having nothing. Because if you don't have a website as a freelancer, you're pretty much anonymous. So if you can get a free website, it doesn't really matter if it's that good. It's better to have something than nothing. But yeah, then another way that you could do this with no money is to do like a skill swap. So obviously you're a video editor. Perhaps you could find a freelance developer and say, look, I'll make you a little intro video if you'll make me a website, or something like that. You could swap the skills rather than pay. Yeah.
That's a good idea. So one of the problems that new freelancers go through is they have traditional platforms like Upwork and other things, Upwork, Fiverr. So platforms like these, like you have to apply stuff and they take a cut, and like you have to buy credits to apply. It's like really, really shitty. And and I've followed your thing, and like you told to go ahead and communicate using Twitter. So I started using Twitter. You and another person that I adore, Ali Abdal, I think you probably know him.
Oh yeah, I know him. Yeah.
So he also told me to do the same thing, and I did that. And like I reached out onto the people from using Twitter. It worked for me, but like, how do you think a website developer like you can reach them through their email platforms if the clients don't have Twitter on with them? How do you approach them using emails? I don't want to know your complete template, but how did you start getting people with your email template? I don't want to know your email template.
Yeah. So you're saying kind of like, did I ever do cold emails, I guess? Yeah. I mean, in all honesty, I never did that, because what I did was get that first client, and then word of mouth kind of just accelerated everything else. And the marketing thing that I focused on was SEO, really. So going back to the website and how important that is, I just put all my eggs in one basket on the term freelance WordPress developer. And like, even if you search that now, I'm pretty high at the top, and it's been like that for like 7 years, and that's where most of my leads came. And because I focused so heavily on that, the cold emailing thing never really was a thing that I did, especially it's not something that I do now. I think I probably sent a few, like in the early days, like agencies that were in my local area saying, look, I've got these skills. If you've got any overflow work, come to me. But yeah, the main thing for me was the SEO side of it.
So it's like the SEO plays a really important role if you are someone who's into freelancing.
Yeah, I would say so, for sure. That's where the majority of my leads come through my website. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's been really it, man. Thank you for joining into the podcast. And
no worries. Thanks for having me.
It really means a lot that you came on to a very short notice. And yeah, man, I'm really happy for you. Really, really happy.
No problem.
And I hope that you can expand your audience onto platforms like YouTube. And I think you're doing things on LinkedIn. So yeah, I'm really excited for you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me on. It's been really great, and the questions were really good as well. So thanks a lot.
It really means a lot. So yeah, I'm gonna end.
No worries.
And yeah, I'll see you later. Bye.
See you later. Bye.